Hello, all. Good morning, good evening. I'm Divya Nandakumar, and I'm glad that I got an opportunity today to speak in the NLP Summit. Thanks to the John Snow Labs as well. Today, we can take a quick look at the competitor insights and analytics from a procurement landscape perspective. So, within the competitor landscape analysis, you can broadly classify them into three categories. They are the market analysis, reviews and ratings, and the price analysis. In market analysis, you may want to get answers to the questions like what is the market share of your company for an analyzer device in the North America market, maybe in Q2 2024, when compared to the competitor companies. For this query to be answered, if you have a GenAI chatbot application in place, it would get connected to your internal sales database, apply all the relevant filters for the device name, time period, region, and get the numbers for you. As well as it will connect to the internet and get the competitor market share based on the published general ledgers that are available out on the internet. Similarly, one can also analyze the market trends as to how the product is performing over a given period of time. And when it comes to the reviews and ratings, it is about understanding how what is the end user's perspective of the features and so on. When you take a look at the product journey, based on the demand, we would raise purchase orders, where the purchase orders are the materials required to build the product. And procurement is about from which suppliers or the materials being procured and at what cost. Here, the procurement team's main goal would be to procure the raw materials at the best price with the competitor analysis to procure the raw material at the best price, right? So, with the competitor analysis, a question to be answered is what is the supplier base of my competitor, and can I get acquainted with more suppliers to get a competitive price at the best quality? So, competitor analysis for a procurement team involves evaluating the procurement strategies, practices, and performance of rival organizations. The goal is to identify the strengths and weaknesses in the competitor supply chain operations, along with an organization to optimize its procurement process. So, when it comes to the cost efficiency, the competitor focus would be to compare the procurement costs such as material prices, shipping, and logistic expenses. And the goal would be to benchmark the procurement costs against the competitors to identify the areas of cost reduction. And the advantage is we can achieve a cost leadership when comparing without compromising on the quality. When it comes to the supplier base, the competitor focus is to investigate the competitor supplier networks. What are the kind of contracts that are there with those suppliers? And what is the kind of relationships that the competitor has with his own suppliers? And the goal is to understand how competitors secure their favorable terms, diversify their supplier base, and manage their risk like the shortages or delays. And the advantage here is to strengthen the supplier negotiations and identify potential new suppliers or cost saving opportunities. So, the analysis could be broadly classified into quantitative analysis and qualitative analysis. The quantitative analysis is much enabled by the procurement data aggregators, or you could say the third party data providers. And let's take a look at a few examples as to what are the kind of KPIs that you can evaluate with a quantitative analysis. If you see this, the first KPI, which is the supplier performance risk, here you see that your organization, the performance of the supplier and the risk is at around 87%, but whereas for your competitors, it is around 93%. And if you are trying to do a weighted average of your supplier base, then it is around 92%. Still, there is a gap of 5% as highlighted in red here. So that means there is room for improvement when it comes to the supplier performance and risk for your organization. And in the next below the supplier performance and risk, you can see a KPI which is called inventory coverage. So inventory coverage means for a manufacturing plant, how many days can the plant run in its manufacturing process without new inventory coming into the plant. That is the meaning of inventory coverage. So here you can see the current organization is able to run the plant without new inventory for around 60 days, whereas the normal weighted average shows it is 56 days. That means your company can perform is 4 days better when compared to the market standards, which is a good sign. So these are some of the examples where you can see how the quantitative analysis of our competitor um, insights could be taken with quantitative data. So there are some data limitations as well. So when it comes to cost of the components that are offered by the suppliers to the competitors may not be very easily available. There could be some special discounts offered by the suppliers to the competitors which you might not be aware of, or it could be how well the suppliers are performing in terms of the quality, and there could be no measure for you to get these from your competitor companies. In such scenarios, there are some industry standards which you can derive and get some conclusions into. When it comes to the qualitative insights, that would be supported by secondary research data. Today, we'll focus a little bit more on the qualitative analysis where we try to gather the information from the internet. It could be the news or blogs or the company annual reports and more. So, there could be some dedicated websites that you want to feed into your Gen AI chatbot application, which you want to use them as primary sources. It could then collect the information in a specific format and showcase the results to you in the required format. So, secondary research data points, when you talk about the data points, the data sources it could be some of the subscriptions of journals and magazines. It could be annual reports or some news feed and daily updates, government or regulatory data, trade associations, and financial database and academic research. So these could be some of the data sources. And when it comes to parameters like design benchmarking or cost benchmarking, you can see that there are numbers written here 1, 2, 3, and 5 for design benchmarking. That means for design benchmarking, you will be looking into subscriptions, annual reports, news feeds, and trade associations. These could be some of the sources when you want to do some design benchmarking and derive some key insights, maybe some returns and recalls, and so on. So, when it comes to the process flow for secondary research tool, there could be a process, there could be a persona or an enabler, and I have also quoted an example here. Let's say there is a business query that a procurement manager or a supply chain planner has in terms of what is the cost reduction strategy that my competitor is obtaining. If that is the kind of a business query that is there, then the secondary data source could be some journals or some news reports which are having some substantiating data required for this insights. And using the secondary research tool, which is enabled using the Gen AI automation tool, it will read some of the keywords which are posed as part of the query, and based on the pre-trained model, it will try to extract all the information from the secondary data source and showcase it as the insights. It could be prescriptive or forward looking, but the insights would be in a readable format it would be delivered. So let's say there is a medical device which is called as an analyzer, and we want to do a comparative study from there could be around some 25 features in an analyzer device, and you want to compare your analyzer device, your company's analyzer device, with 8 competitors. So that means 25 features into 8 competitors, that is around 200 fields that are need to be filled up, as you can see here in this table. If this has to be manually done, then it is a time consuming task, and there might be scenarios wherein the manual the people who are trying to put the manual effort, they are unable to fill in some of the boxes here because they were not able to find that information on the internet. So if this has been enabled with the chatbot, Gen AI chatbot application, this could be filled up within a few seconds, which is a uh, very much time saving effort. So we have coined this secondary research tool as the smart business analyst. So if it is a traditional method versus a Gen AI powered application, let's say there is a business user, a business analyst, who is manually trying to access multiple data sources like PDFs, Word documents, SharePoints, and also some internal databases, and trying to put across some textual information or a visual which could answer all the question that the business is looking for. That is the traditional method. But whereas when we have a Gen AI powered chatbot application in place, you can connect as many data sources as you want, and the business user can directly pose the question to the application, and he can just get the answers in a few seconds. So this is an illustrative example to get a look and feel of the application. Now you might have a question how this application is different from the chat GPT. So I can state a couple of highlights. When you want to do a feature evaluation of a medical device, um, GPT doesn't give you exact numbers of the feature value. For example, let's say the analyzer device has some aperture or a rotation degree, and it GPT only tells you that the analyzer device of your company is better than your competitor company. It does not give out to you the exact value. But whereas the smart business analyst is trained in such a way that it exactly gives out the rotation degrees, 35 degrees for your company versus your competitor company is just 33 degrees, and so on. So if at all we are taking a look at the data flow, as the information we are looking for is not available in abundance, uh, and then this is niche information. So uh, there are very few data sources which could provide answers to the kind of questions that we are looking for in terms of the competitor analysis. We don't want to miss out on any details which are out on the internet. Therefore, we are trying to split the query into n number of queries to retrieve maximum information from the internet. This step is called step number one, which is called as the subquery generation agent. And the second one is the search agents, which scrape and store the top ranked URLs on the web into a vector. And the third one is the report generation agent, which crafts the output into the display ready state. There are many features that are added to this, like visualization charts or conversational memory or multilingual support and more. You can plug in as many additional data sources as you want to the smart business analyst. And also, as the LLM APIs are trained for a while ago, we do not want to miss out on any latest information that is on the internet after the LLM model has been trained. So for to suffice that restriction, we have also plugged in the Google SERP API wrapper into the LLM so that it can fetch the most latest results from the internet. And it can also support multi-language. So the end user can ask the question in any language. And there is this conversational memory. That means you have asked a question number one, and you have a follow-up question based on your previous question. So the application will remember your previous question, like the GPT itself. You need not pose the first question again. So this is again an illustrative visual of how the tool looks like, and you can also see at the bottom that there are multiple websites uh, from where the information has been extracted based on the question query that you have asked. So yeah, this is the kind of an illustrative visual, I would say. Yeah, thank you.